which take place regarding land, not only selling, but also pledging, using it as security, leasing it to other people, and such temporary uses. If you do not follow the law, you cause conflicts. And of course, other people don't know that the owner of the land has exclusive use of that land. So you'll find people trespass into another person's land to use the resources that land can offer. For example, cut trees, mine stones, mine sand, and things like that without the permission of the owner. Those are the kinds of conflicts that are bound to arise.
Now, let's talk about the law itself. As you're saying that many people enter into the dispute sometimes because of the lack of knowledge, but then there are those who do know, but who just don't care, as you've just mentioned. There are different types of tenure systems in that case. And I don't want to assume that our viewers know what those are. Could you perhaps share what are those systems and what are some of those characteristics within those systems, such as the customary tenure, for instance, and the rest of them?
Yeah, thank you very much. In Uganda, land can be held under one of the 4 tenure systems. These include customary, freehold, milo, and leasehold. And they are all different. They have different characteristics. Customary tenure is the most dominant in the country, and that pertains to specific land in a specific area for particular people who follow certain customs regarding its use, regarding the rules, how it can be disposed of or how it can pass from one generation to another, and who's entitled to it. In some areas, we even have communal use. The land doesn't belong to one person, it could belong to a group of people, and it's used communally under their own customary regulations. And that land is owned in perpetuity. It has no time when the use or that right or entitlement ends. And that is the dominant one. And typically, much as there is room for registration of customary land, it's not registered. The boundaries of such land are not easy to ascertain, because in most cases it has not been surveyed. So there will be issues there, as we shall be discussing. Then we have freehold title. Freehold title is as a result of the Constitution and the written law. It is largely surveyed, it is ascertainable, it is located or identified by block and plot, and the size can be ascertained, and it is documented. So there is a document or a paper called a land title that you can see, you can touch, and there is a registry where you can check out such land. And it also, one of its characteristics is it's usually in perpetuity. You can hold it for life, no end, and but there could be some conditions that make it less than perpetuity. Then we have Milo. Milo is also an instance of the law and the Constitution, and it is dominant in Uganda areas and where we had kingdoms like Toro and Bunyoro, where you have Milo titles. It is also owned in perpetuity. There is no limit at all. For it, it has no even condition. It is ascertained, it is surveyed, it is documented, and there is a registry where you can check and a title to it. Then we have a freehold tenure. Freehold tenure is for a fixed, a definite period of time, say 1 year, 2 years, 9, 10, 99, 49, 29. Those are common periods you'll be finding. And that lease tenure is already on another land, which is either freehold or Milo.
Okay.
So it is also documented, and there is a title to it. And there is a person who leases to you, and is called a lessor. And you who's being leased, you are called a lessee. It's for a specific purpose. You are told what you can use that land for. You are told how long. Then you pay a premium at the beginning of the lease, and sometimes you pay an annual rent for leasing that period of land. When the time expires, everything reverts to the owner who leased it to you.
Wow.
Including the developments you have made on that land.
I was about to ask, does this include anything else on top of
Yes.
it? Wow. So you mentioned the four. You said the leasehold tenure, Milo, the freehold tenure, as well as the customary tenure. I think this is obviously information that many people should already know. But how does this actually prevent land disputes once they have this knowledge, or once they know which kind of tenure they're under? How does this particularly perhaps make sure that there are no disputes and better ways of stewarding and managing the land?
Okay, thank you very much. Now, to begin with, what we need to appreciate is that in Uganda, as we talk now, there is no free land. Every piece of land in Uganda belongs to someone. Either to an individual, to an institution, to a group of individuals. Like we talked of customary land, which is communal. So when you find land which seems to be out of use, don't imagine that nobody owns it. So that's the beginning point, that if you have to enter and use such land, then you need the permission of the owner. So if you appreciate that there is no free land, then you don't walk yourself to go anywhere and either occupy or and buy from anyone without first ascertaining his right over that land. So if you appreciated that, then you will avoid a lot of trouble. You know what happens is when you move out of here and you want land and they show you land seemingly empty and they say, this is my land, oh, it's no one's land, then you are inclined to take it. And when you start using, then a person crops up and asks you, where did you come from? Who allowed you to come here? Then a dispute has already arisen. That's number one. Number two, when you know the nature, then you are able to go for the kind of land that you need that fits into your purpose. It's important to know what you want the land for. Some people want it for a limited use, for a limited time to use that land. Others want to invest their money into that land. Others want it for possibly future use. So you need to understand the kind of land you are going for. Take an example. You want land to establish your home. And this person has land available. And he's holding his title and a lease. His lease permits him to use it for industrial purpose. Yet you want for a home and possibly agriculture. Already and maybe his lease is about to expire. It's left with 2 or 1 year. And all those things are known to you because he has a land title. He tells you the land is mine, he's occupying it. You go and buy. Before you realize the lease has expired. And when the lease expires, what did we say? Everything reverts to the owner. So you've lost your money if you didn't take that into account. Secondly, when you do an activity which is not permitted, because a lease has conditions about what is permitted to be carried out. without first seeking the permission of the owner to vary those conditions, again, you're in breach. And when you're in breach of the terms of a lease, the owner is entitled to what we call a re-entry, to enter back into the land. And when he enters for you, you get out. Thirdly, there are conditions which are attached. We talked of a bona fide and a lawful occupant. We will explain who they are. But there are conditions which are attached to land which is occupied by someone else and has security of tenure, but it is owned by someone else. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There are conditions he must fulfill in case he wants to use that land as a gift, or to pledge it as security for a loan, or to sell it. He has to obtain permission of the owner. Mm. And these people rarely do that. One is the owners sometimes are absent. They don't know them. Two, they don't know the need, or they don't know that there is a requirement, an obligation on their part to seek such permission. So they err, and those errors are very, very costly, because you lose your security of occupancy in case you do something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, these are all such, they sound complicated, but pretty simple if you know the law, if you know the tenure, if you know exactly what you're getting into. But what are some of those precautions, rather, that people should take before they can acquire land or are looking for land, or before they purchase or lease a land under the tenures that you've just mentioned? What are those things that we should know? You mentioned one of them and said, already you should know that the land in Uganda, there's no free land. Yeah. What are the other precautions that people should take and know when it comes to land?
The first precaution is if you want to buy titled land, and the person says, I'm selling my land, then he doesn't have a title he's holding, then you are not buying the right land. He might be owning it as a lawful or a bona fide occupant, but usually those ones don't have titles. Although the law provides for a certificate of occupancy, but many of them do not have them. So if you want titled land, you need to take precaution. You need to ask, do you have a land title? And what type of land is it? Is it milo, freehold, or lease? Secondly, the families are protected on land. Family land, the land which people use for as family dwelling, for sustenance, for income. Such kind of land, you all can only buy it with the consent of the spouse of the landlord or the landowner. I've used spouse because also women own land, and their husbands are their spouses. So it is not always that it is the man who must get the consent of
I'm glad you're bringing that up in that way, actually, because I think there's a lot of disputes when we're talking families and inheritance, and sometimes fathers decide to give land to their sons rather than their daughters. And sometimes it does happen one time or twice that a female will get that inheritance. But how do families ensure that they are able to go about, when it comes to land, they're able to follow the law and avoid unnecessary disputes, but also kind of resolve relationships within the family? Because we've seen families fall apart because of land, and many examples such as that. What can families actually do? What should families know? Are there laws that protect families in that regard? Or is it still, again, titles?
Again, also to know and respect the rights of owners. So when I didn't say family, I talked of spouse.
Spouse, yes.
You remember?
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah, but the point you're bringing is important, because we have seen some family heads lose their lives because the children are demanding for land. there are many cases really that have been reported that do exist in that regard. But that's not the subject of our
Yes.
discussion. But we are trying to look at a person who wants to buy
Yes.
and wants to buy clean title to avoid the disputes. So we said, make sure that whoever is selling to you, if you find the land as a home or a house which appears like a homestead, that he has the permission of his wife, or if the land is owned by a lady, has the permission of the husband in order to sell. Because if that happens, then you have problems, disputes will come up. Secondly, even if somebody is using that land to secure a loan, those are the things we commonly do. You find me as a husband, I pick our title, take it to the bank, take it to a money lender, and deposit it there, and I receive money without my wife knowing. And it's a home where we live either, or it is a land where we derive our sustenance. It may be you dig there, you have a rental property there. Again, that is wrong because the law demands that you have the consent of your spouse. But it is important that the families also respect the rights of owners, that your father's land is his land. So if he chooses to give you, that is his discretion. It is within his power. But he should not give you in a way that deprives the spouse. Yeah, I can choose to give my land to my son. He's our son. But what about me?
Yes.
The wife? So things like that, they need to be taken into account. So, and you can't force them. But more trouble really comes in the case of loss of the owner. So issues of succession set in, and many times we have not prepared ourselves to make wills, to indicate how the property should be used, and many issues set in that will be a subject of another discussion.
Absolutely.
I think it will come soon. We'll be discussing that, but not now. So why you need to make sure you know and the families protect themselves is they also work as a break. Left to our own device and the pressures is we could find our families hanging and having no say, and yet you have a responsibility over people. So once you cater for them first, then you can deal with your other properties as you wish. Yeah.
Let's talk about the resources, perhaps even the guidelines that are available to the public to help them verify land ownership. In many instances, like you're saying, that one needs to do their research to know who owns the land, who has title, and am I even allowed to suggest purchasing it at all? But what can the public and where can they get the resources or even the guidelines to verify land ownership?
Those resources are everywhere. Everywhere. I hope we will tell you our contact at the end.
Yes.
So that that could be a beginning point where you call Judicial Service Commission and say, I need to buy land. What do I need to look out for? And you get free advice. But if you go on your website, you can check Ministry of Lands. Ministry of Lands is the one that maintains land registries. In case of registered land, that is Milo freehold leases. And then you can, when you have identified the land you want to buy, you have the description, the particulars of that land. You can either by yourself, if you know what to do, you can go and apply for a search. Or you can engage a lawyer to do the search for you. Then you can be sure that you are dealing in the right land. Those are the resources. Secondly, the area where you have identified land, it has got leadership. We have local councils. You use those people to inquire about the ownership of a particular piece of land in your area that you might be interested in, and also the general public. The general public, there are these people who are always in the village. They hold no particular titles or offices, but they have information. I remember we went somewhere and someone was showing us land, and a random gentleman comes up and he says, but they are going to make a road, construct a road here, and the people were compensated. You see how we are saved just in the niche of time.
Wow.
Otherwise, somebody was telling us, this land is free. So those people don't underlook them. They have very useful information. They know who the owners of this land are. And then you get the name and you go and look for that owner. And then you can engage with them. If you are buying the other land occupied by a lawful or bona fide occupant, it's commonly known as kibanja. At least you need to know who owns the land on which that kibanja is located. And then you have to make sure you know who that person is, he knows these tenants on that land, and he has allowed them to sell.
Yeah.
Yes, those are some of the things you can look out for.
I mean, with so much information available, as you're saying, there are many of those people that do have this information, they know. But in the same time, on the other hand, two sides of the coin, is that we have fraudsters who, and sellers and those people who are calling themselves agents. And they claim to know that you can buy this land or that land. What are some of the red flags that people should always watch out for when dealing with some of these agents or dealing with some of these particular sellers that pretend to know?
Yeah, I don't know what a red flag now would be here when you are dealing with a person. But the most important thing when you want to buy land, try as much as possible to deal with the owner. I know we usually have agents, we call brokers, who will connect you to the owner, and then you discuss with that person. But things to look out for where there is likely to be trouble, especially for registered land, is if somebody is using a special certificate of title, be conscious. It is allowed in law, and they are usually issued to replace a lost duplicate. But many times the lost duplicate could be intentional, so that somebody has a document which he calls a title, and before you realize, the other one could crop up. And if you didn't do your due diligence, you might not be protected by the law. Secondly, the agents who want to deal with you conclusively say, I'm the agent of the owner is not around, he's abroad, or the owner has no capacity, you can finish with me.
And
now
then you
be
send
very,
the money to
very careful. Yeah, he may even be holding a power of attorney, but that power of attorney may be fake. So be careful when you are dealing with an agent on behalf of another person, the principal. That authority may not be genuine. Cross-check and make sure that indeed he has the rightful authority for you to deal with him. Some of them go beyond the authority granted to them by these powers of attorney. So you need to make sure, read the power of attorney, check, usually it will be registered with the URSB, check that it is registered, it's there, and it is still valid as you deal with that person. Also, be conscious when you are buying land from a corporation, because corporations don't talk. They are not in videos. It could exist today and tomorrow it's gone. And many people, when they are trying to hide their identities, they use corporations. So make sure that it is a genuine, it's not a briefcase company which may have been established for only that transaction. So I'm not saying that corporations can't own land
Yes.
and sell, but see that it is a going concern. It's a company that is functioning, that is paying its taxes, filing returns, and it's working. Then you can deal with it. Of course, others use corporation as a business. Those ones are very good because that is their business. They wouldn't want to bring to bring disrepute on their business, and also you can easily get them. They are not likely to run out of the market just because of one or two transactions.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, moving on from the red flags, let's talk about misconception about land ownership in Uganda. There must be some misconceptions that people have about what it means or what it looks like to actually own land in Uganda.
I think the first misconception is that there is land which is free.
Yes.
Well, you hear many people saying this is public land.
Yes.
Public land, yeah. Even that public land is vested in some authorities, in the district land boards, in the districts, in the Uganda Land Commission, and there is no free land. And then you'll find areas like wetlands, you'll find some reserves, forest reserves, game reserves. When you appear there and you don't see human activity, it might look like it's available. Anyone can use it, but it's not. So that is the first misconception. The second one, the Vibanja holders, they know this land, they inherited it from a great-grandfather. So it's our land where we have lived forever. And they do not take steps to pay usuru or even know their landlords, and even, and seek their permission whenever they want to use their lands in those restricted ways as pledging, where they are required to obtain consent. Now, even today, a person will go and buy such land and say, I'm buying someone's chibanja, you're buying Samuel's chibanja. And you don't care to know that there is a landlord behind this chibanja that I'm selling to you. Whereas you need to ask, how did you get this chibanja? And somebody will be bringing you sale agreements as late as 2000, 2010, 2020, 2024. He says, I bought this chibanja. It's genuinely mine. I'm even occupying it. And what do you have? I have a sale agreement, properly executed, and maybe not properly executed, but lacking consent.
Okay.
And you say, I'm buying. So you buy. But you have not sought the permission of the owner, so you have bought air. You've bought nothing. You cannot get ownership of such land. So I want to appeal to really the people under that kind of tenure to be extra vigilant and careful. And I told you, the dominant tenure system in this country is customary. And some of these areas have communal land ownership. And the law allows to convert customary tenure to freehold. Now, you'll have a person belonging to a group owning land as a community, and this person wants to title it and for himself. You already have problems there.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's depriving the other members that are entitled. So that kind of land also you need to go carefully. You see, We have already said under freehold milo you have exclusive use, but you do not have exclusive use of customary land which is owned communally. So when you go and title it and you want to eliminate or exclude, not eliminate, exclude others from using the same troubles or conflicts are bound to arise. Yes.
Absolutely. Now, you spoke something about seeking legal advice, getting a lawyer to also kind of go through those fine comb things that will get a bit irritable for just a regular person. How important is it really to seek that legal advice when it comes to land matters? I ask this because I think one of the misconceptions is the part where getting a lawyer is too expensive and this and that and that. So perhaps share and emphasize a bit more on the importance of that.
It is extremely, extremely important. It's extremely important that you get a lawyer when you are trying to buy land. Because we've already mentioned the instances of fraud are many, but also to make sure that you've done your due diligence. What saves you, even when somebody is trying to cheat you, is being diligent and acting in good faith. In land law, we have a defense that protects buyers of what we call bona fide purchaser for value. If you buy registered land and you are bona fide, meaning you're acting in good faith, no fault of your own. And the courts have found you avoiding to do a search to discover something that could be adverse as not being bona fide. Yeah, that if you had done what you ought to do, then you would have discovered that there is an issue here. Then you wouldn't have bought. For example, there might be a caveat. Somebody bought, he has not yet transferred, and has put a caveat. For you, you come acting in all your good faith, and you pay your money, and you buy. Then you realize that somebody had bought earlier. Then they say you tried to avoid knowing or discovering an impediment which could have stopped you from buying. Also, if you discover that there are other interests preceding yours, then you cannot try to acquire a legal interest which is superior, because there are other which we call equities, some equities on that land, so you will buy subject to those equities. For example, you found there is already a tenant, a lawful, a bona fide occupant on that land. You go ahead and buy. Then you cannot evict them. You take them on as your tenant. So a lawyer knows what to look out for. Nowadays, there are even cases of double titling. Two titles on the same land owned by different people. Yeah, so those problems are there. So a lawyer knows what to look out for. A lawyer knows somebody could be selling you a lease land and tells you, this is my Milo, this is my freehold, I've held it forever, yet it's a lease about to expire. A lawyer knows what to look out for. And then a lawyer knows he's doing his professional work, so he has a reputation to protect. And for you as a client of that lawyer, he has some liabilities he carries with him if he fails to do his work diligently. So you have some recourse. If you should be advised by a lawyer and you lose money, you can sue him for professional negligence. And if it is really blatant, you can even report him to the law council.
Now, let's come back and bring it back now to the Judicial Service Commission and your role in helping to educate the public and about their rights and responsibilities when it comes to land in particular. Can you perhaps share how you are educating? Yes, of course, we're here and this is the education. What other ways are there that the JSC is getting involved in to teach this, because this is very vital information.
Thank you very much. You've told me not to talk about this one, but we do publish materials you can find on our website, www.jsc.go.ug. A lot of educational materials concerning many aspects of the law. But we also use radios, we also interact with people. And we also have our YouTube channel. A lot of this learning can take place there. But you can also, we have toll-free numbers. You can come to us, or you can call those toll-free numbers. I think I should say them now.
Yes, please.
For the listener, so that in case you want to buy land and you want to make inquiries on how to go about a transaction like that, you can seek guidance. Our toll-free number is 0800 100 221 or 0800 100 222. You don't pay. It's for free. And we do a lot of community engagements. If there are any groups of people that need to be educated, if we have not yet planned to come to your place, you write to our permanent secretary, Judicial Service Commission, and request. And then we can send you a person, or we can put in place a procedure or something that can help you, us to reach you, or you to reach us, and you get this information.
So the information and the resources are absolutely available.
Maybe one other thing, we have a resource center. If you can read for yourself, you visit Judicial Service Commission in Kampala at our Kingdom Kampala office. On 8th floor, we have a resource center. It has all these legal materials. If you are in Karamoja region, we have also a resource center at our Karamoja regional office. You can find these legal materials for your reference. Yeah.
Now, I'm sure there's somebody watching who's thinking, I am currently in a land dispute of some sort. What is the correct process to follow, together, of course, with the JSC? What is the correct process to follow to resolve it lawfully and to see results afterwards?
Yeah, it's very important. First of all, when a dispute arises, you need to assess it, analyze it, and see where you went wrong, and check for your responsibility, and then find ways of resolving it. Yeah, because if, for example, you buy land and you discover that I bought this land, which was a chibanja, I did not get the permission of the landlord, I did not get the permission of the spouse, of the person who sold it to me, and now a spouse has come up to challenge such a transaction. So understand your role and see how you can go about it. So when you find that you made a mistake somewhere, you have many options. One of them will be alternative dispute resolution. So you can negotiate. Say, honestly, I bought this one in error, but I spent money. You can see I acted in good faith, but I erred. Let's negotiate. Then you are able to satisfy the interests of those people. If it's a spouse, you've already bought and you've paid this land, the spouse was not there, and now has come up, you can negotiate and say, your husband sold to me, I paid money, but because you are the wife and you are not consulted, I can pay you something. Do you understand? Yes.
Wow.
And you resolve that one amicably.
In that way, yes.
But when you find that you followed the law, you did everything you needed to do, and you bought the same land, and then a dispute is arising, you have also other procedures you can follow. Mediation is one of them, and the other one is you can go to the Register of Titles. For example, a person can sell you titled land where they are supposed to do a subdivision, and the subdivision never comes. What do? You go to the registrar and apply for a vesting order. The registrar will grant it to you, the registrar of titles, or you go to before you even go to court. If he is satisfied that you bought, then he's likely to act within the powers under the Registration of Titles Act. Then we have mediators. We are supposed to be having mediators at every sub-county and division levels appointed by the local councils of those areas. They are supposed to mediate land disputes under the Land Act. So that could be another avenue that you submit your complaint to. We also have local authorities like kingdoms where they exist. They do a lot of mediation of land cases under customary law. They do. So that is another area you can take recourse. We also have local councils, especially for land matters. You start from local council 2. You can take your claim to that local council. If it is surrounding customary land, they will also be able to resolve it. And finally, if all those are not feasible for you, you can file a suit in courts of judicature. Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm pretty sure that there's a lot more information, but we must condense this one.
Oh, yes.
And I hope we can have you back again to perhaps even break down much more some of these things that we should all know. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
We will possibly be touching something else. Now, people shouldn't forget, Judicial Service Commission can be contacted on the toll-free numbers I read out. And also you can visit our website, www.jc.go.ug, or you can visit us at Kingdom Kampala, 8th floor, Omoroto. We have a regional office. We also have a regional office in Masaka near the probation office, or in Mbarara at the district. We also have a regional office. You can find somebody to talk to. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And thank you, our listeners.
Absolutely. Now we've just been joined by Mr. Samuel Mugisha, who is coming from the Judicial Service Commission. What a great conversation, really. Things that you should know about land disputes and anything else concerning purchasing land. You heard the misconceptions. You also heard some of the red flags that are out there. But also, most importantly, you heard the laws that we ought to follow. And so do your research, do your due diligence, especially when you're entering into this space. But for me, Victoria Smia, may the Lord bless you, keep you, make his face shine upon you, be gracious to you. Goodbye, and God bless.
Take the good with the bad, go with the flow. Every end's a beginning, always miles to go. Life's too short to just be living.
Hello, Fred. When are you coming for Christmas?
Mommy,
Guess what?
I'm coming home with joy.
What's happening? Fred is finally bringing home a wife!
A wife! Mommy! Mommy, no, it's...
My son is
Mommy.
getting married to a girl called Joy!
Mommy, what I meant, I'm bringing DSTV.
And he's also bringing DSTV!
Experience Experience all the joy this holiday with an HD decoder for only 40,000 shillings, as well as 1 month of DSTV Family for only 71,000 shillings. We wish you a very DSTV holiday. DSTV Uganda, your home of entertainment.
Three tickets to Nairobi, please.
Sorry, but the Nairobi line is the tighter the experience.
What? I've been waiting for 3 hours.
Bid farewell to travel booking frustration. Start your trip today. Book your spot and travel not only to Jinja, Mbale, Mbarara, Gulu, but also across the entire East Africa. Get the Best Stop app today on Google Play or App Store. Best Stop. Travel made easy.
On Sunday, 29th December 2024, it's possible. Chisomoka is back with the second edition